All right, welcome, fellow TFFL owners, to another TFFL webcast, another TFFL season. And it struck me that this is actually the third year we've been doing these webcasts. Feels like we just started doing them last year. We're sitting here on Wednesday, September 7th, 2016, 2 days away now from TFFL draft weekend. Actually, for at least one person, it starts tomorrow. 3 days away from our draft. We've had a bunch of trades. We've had keepers come out. We got the draft coming up. Lots to talk about tonight. I'm Stick, managing editor of TFFL Media, leader of the Aliens, joined as always by our esteemed panel, our second-term commissioner now and skipper of the Sponge Fishermen, Chief.
Good evening.
Hank, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels, looking to turn it around this year.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Excited for the weekend. Let's go.
And our three-time defending champions, Jack's Giant Killers. Berto, welcome.
Hey, Stick. Less than 24 hours away till real football.
Yep, that's right. We got a game tomorrow night. Make sure you got your keepers in the starting lineup if you've got Denver or Carolina players. So let's get a TFFL trivia question out there. This is one of those questions that is designed to help you determine just how often something happens in the TFFL, more or less frequently perhaps than you might have thought. How many times has the Packed Bowl loser used it as a springboard to winning the title in the following season? This is something that will happen in the NFL a fair amount. How many times in our 19 years now, 18 years, however many we've had, has the Packed Bowl loser gone on to win the Packed Bowl the following year? Never? Once or twice? 3 to 5 times? Or more than 5 times?
Multiple choice. Good.
Multiple choice. You're not going to have to pinpoint it, but tell me about how frequently you think it happens. Write down your answer now. I'll give you the correct one later in the show. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. Let's start with a quick recap of the trades. And when I say quick, I mean quick. Let's not go on long rants about these trades, or we'll never get to doing a mock draft or picking on my mock drafts or lots of other things I want to talk about. So real quick, let's just go through them. I've got at least 6 that I tracked. We had 4 of them that went down in about a 10-minute span 3 days before the keeper deadline. The TFFL pre-draft dinner is the place to be if you want to make a trade these days. But before that happened, we had Kobe Fleener going to the Aliens going from the Aliens to the AMPAC. I don't think there's a heck of a lot to say here that hasn't been said already. Ralph wanted a tight end. I think he liked the idea of replacing Jimmy Graham with another New Orleans tight end. Any other quick thoughts on this one?
Just quickly, Stick, I think you might want to turn your volume down. We seem to be getting some feedback from your speakers.
All right.
Feedback on this trade very quickly. For all of Ralph's rationale here, the fact is, constantly, the word out of New Orleans is he doesn't get the offense. He doesn't have the trust of Drew Brees. He's not in the right place, during the plays. He doesn't run the right routes. And he's not going to be the starter tomorrow, at least week 1, because he doesn't know the offense. So my stance has always been, you need to make a trade for a 7 keeper, even on the cheap. There are a lot of other guys that could have been targeted that I think would have made more sense.
Yeah. I agree. It was, it's great. Well, 2 things, right? It's great to see Ralph engaged and sending emails. The league is better when Ralph is engaged, number 1. So it's good to see him make a deal and send some emails out about it. But I think he was impatient. And I agree wholeheartedly with Chief, better players to get out there.
All right, let's move on. Beavers, Killers. This was kind of a weird trade. Isaiah Crowell to the Beavers, quarterback Derek Carr to the Killers. They swap picks in the first round such that the Killers move up to the number 6 spot. Beavers fall to number 12. And then the Killers don't even keep Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Make sense of this.
Stop trading with the freaking giant killers. What is the matter with you people? I mean, this is ridiculous. Thornburg. Whatever. I mean, I hope whoever Berto takes at 6 turns out to be Kobe Fleener.
Berto, when you made that trade, what were the chances that you were going to end up keeping Derek Carr?
I'll be honest with you. I was thinking all along keeping Derek Carr.
Okay.
But I think the flurry of activity, what day was that? August 31st?
Yep.
That changed things, right? So I was happy to keep Carr. I wouldn't have made the Baldwin trade, I guess. Or maybe I would have. Maybe I would have done something different. I don't know. But no, I was fine keeping Carr. If a whole bunch of the other teams had not kept the quarterback, I would have not necessarily, or I would have kept everyone had a quarterback. I didn't really see the need to keep him because there's several that I like out there anyway. So that dynamic changed. But I was okay with Carr there as a 7th keeper.
Chief, I believe you've been an Isaiah Crowell fan at some point, if I'm correct. Were you okay with the move?
Well, which move here? I mean, we know starting running backs, even bad ones, are valuable in our league. Rashad Jennings is another one we can bring up. You know, you got the carries. Crowell's going to get the carries. To me, this, and I've emailed this. I don't want to rehash too much. I think Berto would have made the trade without getting Derek Carr back. I think we would have traded Crowell for 6 spots in the first round.
Sure.
And same thing. Once we saw that, you know, we went from maybe 4 owners, you know, not keeping a quarterback to 0 owners not keeping a quarterback. I had the feeling the Carr was going to get back in the draft pool. So I think that was just some savvy move by Berto. Just as a contrast, I think Thornburg was so desperate to trade a quarterback, he traded one he didn't need to. And Berto's savvy enough that, you know, okay, so he got this as a quote-unquote throw on the trade. It doesn't mean he has to keep him.
Yeah, I think Bill wanted to get value for Carr.
And he got the same value he would have gotten without trading Carr.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I want to put out a plea to Greg Shively to please get involved with your ownership group and start talking through these things before they actually happen. Thornburg. Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, bigger trades. Lizards, Sponge. We kept waiting for Rich to trade a quarterback.
Yep.
And we had Andrew Luck going to the Sponge, Greg Olson, the key player, going back to the Lizards. Sponge giving up a fair amount of draft picks, a 1, a 4, and a 5, Chief.
that's correct. Over 2 years.
Over 2 years. You know, as I told multiple owners, including myself, you know, if you have a chance to go get Luck or Newton, I think you had to do it. That was a rare opportunity. I floated an offer at one point, to be honest. I think most owners probably should have. Chief is the one who made the big enough offer and kept in touch with Rich and made it happen. Congratulations on getting a really good player.
Very excited. Having Tom Brady for 9 years, there's a lot to be said for not having to worry.
Yep.
You know, for last year aside, I think he's a really durable quarterback, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. Just throw a guy in there, don't worry about it.
Did you ask for Luck, or was he only offering Luck?
This is pretty funny because I first started talking to Richie. We talked about the parameters of LaShawn McCoy, Andrew Luck. And this was before Carlos Williams got suspended and then ultimately released. And Richie's response was, McCoy is like the 13th best running back in the league. Carlos Williams is going to be just as good, if not better, this year. So he realized, like, you know, your message was, you're not even close with this. I didn't try again. I think then I started looking at Newton the last couple of days and maybe putting an offer towards Newton. But then that day, I thought I had something worked out in the morning with Nick for Drew Brees. And as I was contemplating, I just said, let me just fire a dart at Berkman one more time and before we get this compensation ironed out. And I threw the package out there. And he said, basically, we're really close on this, and ended up being yes. So yeah, it totally wasn't planned. I didn't expect, 1 week ago at this time, I would have never expected to have Andrew Luck on my team. I wasn't trying to get Andrew Luck. I was convinced I was going to go with Eli or someone in the draft on the Eli level, and keep an extra running back or wide receiver, or Olsen as it may have been. It just all kind of tied together.
Hank, real quick, without airing too many details of your trade behind the scenes, I know you have some comments.
I will withhold most comments. I tried to have discussions with the man who had both quarterbacks. And Chief, I congratulate you in getting the package. I hope it works out. I'm really happy with the trade that I ended up making. I thought the value was right. I filled a couple of needs with keeper slots that I'm hopeful are playing on a great team this year, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about what we have going.
The big part of your transactions is going to end up being Derrick Henry.
Well, yeah, and I think that's, I was offering to put that as part of a package toward one of the quarterbacks, but I'm very excited to have that pick and take Derrick Henry and then have, both elements of that backfield for this year, and let's see what happens. As mentioned earlier, getting starting running backs in our league is the key, and especially young ones who are ready to run, which Derrick Henry will be.
Berto, I'd be surprised if you didn't make an offer at some point for one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I wasn't serious. Well, the thing about Rich, he was very patient, so I would occasionally throw something out there. In all honesty, I was trying to feed him Foster more than anything else to pair with Ajayi, or maybe get Duke Johnson. I don't know. But I messed around with Luck. I didn't do anything serious with that. I don't think I would have offered. I wouldn't have been able to match what Chief did, and probably what Phil had offered. But I think it's a win-win, and I also think I think the trade that Phil and you made, and I think the trade that Chief and Rich made was a win-win type of situation for all four of those teams. So I have no issue with that. I just wouldn't have matched it. It would have been too much for me.
The next trade, Phil very quickly turned to me. Carson Palmer, Michael Floyd, basically for a 2-6 swap. Berto or Chief, you guys want to offer a comment on the value that Hank got here? Great
value. I don't love either guy going forward, but to get two keepers for a 20th overall pick, you do it, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Stick. I missed what trade now?
This is the Carson Palmer, Michael Floyd trade.
Yeah, no, I was just saying before. I think all four teams. So you and Phil made a good deal, and Chief and Rich made a good deal, and the Lizards. I think fair value. I think Phil was able to fill two keeper spots with one draft pick, not even being a first-round pick. So I think it was a good move.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to be able to keep all these guys. And
no, like I said, it was a win-win. It was fair value on both ways.
Chief brought up Drew Brees. Michael Giovenco was part of our pre-draft dinner where he consummated his Drew Brees trade with Nick. That sounds like it came together pretty quick. Even if Drew Brees only goes for another couple of years, he gives the Hams a big scorer at the top of the lineup. I want to talk in a little bit about what the Devils really have done in blowing up their franchise at this point. But who won this trade in the short term?
What was the compensation, Stick, if you have it in front of you?
I don't have it fresh in front of me.
It was Frank Gore, James White, and 2017 second-round pick.
That's not a lot for Drew Brees.
No.
Granted,
I'll just say this too. Where Stick traded Carson Palmer with the intention of Ben being his keeper quarterback anyhow, if he did keep one, which he didn't turn out to keep one. So it was almost excess. Drew Brees was certainly not excess for the Devils. I think they could have gotten more. Drew Brees just signed another extension, and I don't know. I don't like it for the Devils. I think they got worse, and they got older. They got old guys. Frank Gore, why? Makes no sense.
Yeah,
Well,
Mike. That's the same. Mike paid a lot more than I would have. And we have a legitimate arms race now in the SoCo West between the Sponge and the Hams, I think. But I thought it was a good trade for Nick. And we'll talk about this later. I think you hinted at it's time to blow up that team. It is. And so good move from Michael. Good aggressive move.
Yep.
Generally, I like aggressive moves. I'm in favor of most aggressive moves.
So your division now has Luck, Breeze, and Brady as the three quarterbacks. That's nice. Last trade I want to bring up real quick is Nick and the Aliens. Nick, after getting rid of Drew Brees, promptly turns to me and gets Kirk Cousins and Justin Forsett. Yes, I did push Justin Forsett on Nick. That's fair to say. Nick was offering practically nothing in return for Forsett, and then it was Nick who offered up a second out of the blue for Cousins and Forsett. Again, he didn't even keep James White from the Drew Brees trade.
Yeah,
I think he was just out grabbing running backs and deciding later who he wanted to keep.
Yeah, there's no harm in getting the James White throw-in. It gives him a couple days to evaluate the Patriots running back situation. Why not get another player out of the trade? He certainly wasn't central to the trade. Yeah, the Cousins thing kind of confused me because you can't convince me Kirk Cousins was going to go before the 5th or 6th round in the draft. And Nick, I guess Nick just really likes. I'm high on his future too, but it's more of a projection than anything he's done to justify that.
That's Nick wanting the hometown quarterback. That's all it is. It's so that he can simply get his quarterback news off AM radio.
You might be right. You absolutely might be right.
That was a terrible trade. I mean, really, I'm sorry. Just horrible. There's no other way to do it. First of all, it's your third quarterback. He knows that. I mean, you'll give him away for, a bag of donuts. I don't understand it. He could have done far better than a 5th. And why get Justin Forsett? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
The worst running back by committee situation in the NFL, and he's old to boot. And if you're rebuilding, why do that?
I know for a fact that he could have gone for less because Stick offered him. Cousins made for a much lower draft pick.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. I think Nick came in with like guns blazing, like I'll give you a second for Cousins. You're like, yeah, sure, sounds good.
No, that's my strategy too. Offer what you're going to offer, and that's that. Don't nickel and dime. But the evaluation was off. But a little while ago, Berto said the TFFL is a much better place when routes engage. The TFFL is a better place when Nick's making trades.
true.
I mean, what do you get? 2 or 3 trades on the same day for the Dirt Devils? Has that ever happened before?
And Chief, what you just said about offer what you're going to offer and have that be it, you got to realize who you're trading with too, right?
No, I know. That's my philosophy. It's certainly there are other valid ones out there too.
No, but I guess what I'm getting at is when you and I make a trade, it's usually very quick.
Right.
When Stick and I make a trade, it will take like 4 or 5 months.
How many emails does it take to make a trade with the Senators, generally speaking?
Oh, forget it.
Yeah.
16?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a constant back and forth. Other players, other picks, future picks, minus these picks.
Well, let's talk about the Senators. For all the bluster and all the I got the best 14 guys, whatever, no action, nothing.
Zip. It's a bunch of mediocrity on the Senators. It has been.
No action.
All right. Let's not beat up on the Senators too much because there's another team I want to beat up on for no action. I got a text this week from one owner basically saying, I don't get Alan Hearns. And I said, what do you mean you don't get Alan Hearns? Where to rank him? No, he didn't. This owner didn't get why the Mongols didn't protect Alan Hearns or didn't more aggressively trade him for value. One member of this panel this week compared the Mongols. I hope this isn't un-PC to say, to North Korea, a very secretive regime. You sort of have to communicate with them through intermediaries.
You know what? I got email from Kim Il-jung, and he is pissed you compared him to the Mongols. He is furious.
And to be really mean, the Mongols are kind of starving their own people. Their lack of trade activity and such is not leading to titles. Should they have gotten more value, whether it was trading away Tevin Coleman or Rashad Jennings or Travis Kelce or Allen Hurts? I mean, find somebody to trade one of your good players to.
Yeah, three things here. One, they won the Southern Conference last year, so let's not beat up on them too badly. They have a good team. They obviously know what they're doing. Number two, and there was some communications they sent me unsolicited, probably about 3 days before the keeper deadline, trying to get off on some guys. But I think they decided they wanted to move Kelce and Jennings, nobody else. They wanted to keep the rest. And we can discuss that as a strategy. I think you take the value where it is. If you have 9 keepers and 2 of them really don't have trade value, well, trade the ones that do. And I think they learned that, trying to get, and part 3 was, I think they're asking too much for the Kelce and the Jennings, that they kind of, when that flurry, August 31st hit, they didn't have a chair.
Again, these are middle players, and it's like if the Mongols viewed them as keepers, well, then great. And it goes back to what you said earlier. Then look at who else they could trade. If maybe they're not willing to trade Devontae Freeman, but can you trade Tevin Coleman? Can you trade one of your other receivers? And didn't seem like they were having those discussions.
Berto, go ahead.
No, go on, Stick.
I was just going to say, I think there are 2 members of this panel that talked about having sent trade offers, never hearing back. I worry there's because they have 2 owners, they've got to talk to each other first before they get back.
I'll occasionally float to Terry. He always gets back. So
yeah, I made a big offer on Eddie Lacy actually, and they got back to me within hours.
All right, good.
I don't think that's an issue.
All right.
Yeah. I've tried to pedal Foster several times to.
They've rejected many of your offers, Berto. Yeah.
Anyway, I think Allen Hurts, is probably first round pick.
He's a top-rated guy on my board.
Yeah. And there's some good receivers out there. They're not the only ones who let a good receiver go. Again, the Mongols are one of these teams we all do like to root for. I don't mean to pick on them too much, but it's too bad that they had a lot of talent and they didn't make the most of it at the keeper deadline. All right, let's go back to the Devils. We've talked about them a little bit, but what amazed me was we saw Nick at Connor's barbecue a week before, and it was clear Nick hadn't started thinking about the TFFL at all, and I think that was probably true even 4 days later. But then in a span of 72 hours, he went from that to very aggressively, going out and overhauling his team for better or for worse at this point, announcing that he's looking ahead to getting Leonard Fournette as the #1 overall pick next year. So he's suddenly got this big plan that clearly materialized very quickly. Is it a good plan?
No.
Compared to what?
I think the Devils would have been better off following their plan the last several years, which has been, get a magazine, take a nice long dump, a couple nights before the draft, flip through it.
Get your highlighter.
Don't make any trades, and then sit near Stick during the draft.
Sounds about right.
Don't get me wrong. He'll still be preparing his actual draft Saturday morning. He'll be with his notebook and his highlighter, watching college football. Try to figure out the #2 wide receiver for the Bears is or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
I don't
what?
know. Sorry, Chief, go on.
But whether it's a good move or not, let's say, regardless of the question of whether it was a good move or not to blow up the team, why not? He's not winning with the team he has. He's got Drew Brees, who obviously had trade value. We're looking at Matt Forte, who's old, and he's seen his best days. His other running back before the Forsett trade, can't recall right now who it was. No great shakes, right? He had a couple good receivers. He was no threat to win. Now, could he have done the job better and more effectively? Clearly. Probably if he started before last Wednesday, whatever it was, he may have been able to maximize his return a little better. But yeah, I think it was the right move to blow up the Devils.
Yeah, the only thing is, the right move was to overhaul the Devils, and I agree with Chief. It was just poorly executed. Too many old guys. You traded for 4 guys. The quarterback, I think you could have had later than anyone would pick, and it was your 3rd quarterback stick, and the other 2 running backs are old.
Right.
And then you didn't keep the 4th one.
Gore and Forsett.
I give this trade period for the Devils an F.
Well, we'll see. He's going to get a little bit of something out of Spencer Ware because I guess Charles is hurt a little bit in the first couple of weeks. Forsett will probably get a few carries early, so maybe they can eke out a couple of wins. But you're right, this team is old and is not built to, Stephon Diggs is maybe your only young, exciting player you got on the entire team. And right, Cousins, if you like him, you could have had him in the 5th round, easy.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's an F, but it's a D and trending.
Yeah. Spencer Ware, to your point though, I do like that, and I was trying to pry him from Nick, that's for sure. To no avail, but I do like Spencer Ware, but that had nothing to do with the trades that he made, which were bad.
Now it just opened up the ability for him to keep him. So yeah, I don't like it what he did at all, but
It's kind of like I thought of New Orleans Saints last year, if you remember. They made all these moves early in the offseason, ridding themselves of salary cap, getting rid of these veterans, forcing them to renegotiate. And then they traded for like 2 guys with ridiculous cap hits, coming in. It's kind of like the same thing. They start clearing space, get younger. Where does Gore and Forsett fit in with that strategy? I understand you have to start 7 guys every Sunday. But if you got to tank the season, tank the season. If you got to trade Breeze, get a running back who's on the upswing. Not a guy who's, as much as Frank Gore, I think, is probably a Hall of Famer. He's got 2 years left. And he's not going to get better. His stats aren't going to go up this year.
Nope.
I like to think, from what I know or what I hear through the grapevine, that the Hams offered for some other quarterbacks, he probably could have pulled out a younger running back besides James White, off that roster in exchange for Drew Brees. So yeah, like we've said, good idea, poorly executed.
Agreed.
All right. Lightning round here. I want to ask 2 quick questions, and then I think we might actually have time for a live mock draft if you guys want.
All night.
All right. Lizards. They had 2 great young franchise quarterbacks. In reality, they probably could have dictated which one they wanted to give up, and they may have done that. Did they make the right choice? They kept Cam Newton. They clearly invested a lot in Cam Newton and Carolina by adding Greg Olsen. And I think that was a surprise probably to a lot of people. They had drafted Andrew Luck, kept him for several years now. Did the Lizards make the right choice, yes or no?
I'll just ring in and say I don't, who knows, but I think that they basically decided that Carolina is a good team playing well right now, chance to go back to the Super Bowl. Indianapolis is probably a couple years away, although maybe an easier division, but Carolina's been solid, and Cam is probably a little bit more of an exciting player than Luck is. Having said that, Berkman had the waiver given up Luck because he's been there since day one. But my guess is that the quality of Carolina as a team swung him.
When I did my projections this year, Cam Newton was the #1 player in the NFL, who I expect to score the most of anybody. That being said, I think in maybe 3 years where his legs start to go a little bit, I think he's going to lose a little bit of his effectiveness. Whereas Luck is the kind of quarterback who can be Drew Brees. He can play until he's late 30s, 40 years old. And that kind of guided my thinking a little bit. Whereas, and Stick, you know better than anybody, Newton has big games, and then he'll frustrate you for a while. Last year, he seemed to get over it. Was last year the norm, or was last year his career best season? You know, did he trade the better guy? I don't think he could lose either way. He trade whichever guy, if he get the best return on, was the right guy to trade.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you could go either or there. I mean, the Carolina receivers are 1 year older. They're a little healthier. So you got Benjamin there. So yeah, I mean, Chief makes a good point. Maybe it's a win over the next 2 or 3 years, but he doesn't have the career duration of Luck. I think that's a really good point. So I would call it a push either way.
Okay. We'll get better at this lightning round thing. Second question.
This is the wrong group to say lightning round. Come on.
Give me the one player that was the biggest keeper surprise to you. You know, most of you, I think, to some extent, had your own projected keeper lists. You knew what mine were. Who did you have to go scratch off your lists and update your draft lists because somebody kept somebody or didn't keep somebody?
Michael Crabtree. I do not get the Michael Crabtree. I thought it was just you, Stick. I thought you were the only one in the league who liked Michael Crabtree. Stunned. I thought he was probably the number 11 keeper on the Fats.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think Cousins is a pretty good call, but I'm going to say Spencer Ware simply because I didn't think he was going to get kept, and I would like to be able to draft him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how quick we can do a mock draft. Let's go at least the first round.
Hold on. I need a beer run. Hold on.
Okay, you go ahead. How this works.
You're taking that.
All right, so here's the way I think I want this to work. Hank, you're the only one there, so I'll talk to you.
I'm listening.
You're going to get the SoCo West.
I'm going to get the SoCo West. Okay. Who's that? Which is the West?
Whoever the heck that is.
Yeah. We don't know the East and West. We're confessing that in front of our entire league that we can't.
I know the NoCo East and West because I'm in the NoCo.
Yeah, but we can't tell you for sure which. And
really, it's irrelevant. Berto is going to get the SoCo East, so one of you, is going to get one division.
One of us is East, and one of us is West. I'm with you. I got it.
All right, Chief.
Yeah.
What division are you in?
SoCo West.
All right. Hank is going to be drafting the SoCo West.
Okay.
Am I drafting?
Chief, you're going to be drafting the NoCo West.
Okay.
All right. Berto, you're going to be drafting for the SoCo East.
Okay.
And I will take the NoCo East, which is Hank, Berto, the AMPAC, the Killers, the K-Wheels. So let's be real quick here. Let's plow through this 1 through 12. We could probably go 1 through 13. Get the Mongols. We'll miss out on the Hams and their first pick at number 22. Okay, so first pick is the AMPAC. That's going to be me. That's going to be an easy pick to make. That's going to be Zeke Elliott. I don't think we need to talk too much about this, but again, I keep saying it. If Elliott hits 10-plus touchdowns, if Melvin Gordon delivers on his promise this year, gets close to 10 touchdowns, that's going to be a big turnaround for the AMPAC. Okay, pick number 2. I guess, I'm going to be on the clock here for a moment. K-Wheels. Again, I think a pretty easy one. Derrick Henry. it's an interesting problem I think Hank is going to have throughout the year. I think that Tennessee offense is actually going to generate a fair amount of points on the ground, but I don't know week to week whether Hank is going to frustrate himself. But I think in the long term, he's going to be excited to have Derrick Henry, who looks really good. All right, number 3 pick is the Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's mine. And I'm just looking at the keeper list right now. You made a point to mention in your mock draft that they're the only ones with only 2 people they can slot in the running back position. So I see a temptation for a veteran point-scoring running back or tight end. Listen, I think the Fats have something special going on here. They got Gurley and Washington, 2 good running backs who are young. I think they can get a veteran later, or especially tight end. I'm gonna go with Jay Ajayi for the Boba Fats, guy who's gonna get carries every week and can maybe grow along with the other 2 guys.
Okay. Number 4 is the Dirt Devils, I believe.
Okay. I think the Devils go with familiarity here. They're gonna go back to the well with Macklin. The temptation will be there, I think, for Nick to step outside his comfort zone and draft a rookie running back. And I think he'll go back and forth with a couple of the rookies. But at the end of the day, he will go back to the guy he knows who's been successful for him. So Macklin.
Okay, number 5 is the Sponge Fisherman.
I think that is me who picks this, and I'm looking at Chiefs list, and he's in great shape with his running backs, good balance, and 3 solid receivers. So you got a best case available here, and he already said in his webcast that his number 1 guy on his wide receiver board is Allen Hurns. So let's pencil Allen Hurns in right there.
I've hinted at this from time to time. I've talked about it more directly with Chief. But if you go back through the Sponges drafts, and I'm talking about like 10, 12 years worth of drafts, I mean, 1 running back maybe, Chief, as your top pick, maybe 2 running backs. But the overwhelming majority of the first pick that the Sponge have, whether it's first or second round, is a receiver, occasionally a tight end. But they're very comfortable ignoring running back early on. Okay, 6th pick is now the Giant Killers. That's going to put me on the clock. This is an interesting spot, and the Killers obviously can go in a variety of different directions here. We were talking about this before we got on the air. I think the safe guess here is this is going to be running back Christine Michael. And that's not going to shock people. And as somebody said, he's a legitimate first rounder this year. Number 7 is the Aliens.
All right. Well, I like this Aliens keeper list. I think you have to be concerned right now with the health of Carlos Hyde. I think that I don't know if you have taken him because of the fear of what you have got, but I think you maybe took a sigh of relief. You had a little disappointment with Christine Michael going off the board right before you. But I think I'm not buying the QB in round 1. I think D'Angelo Williams makes a lot of sense right now for the Aliens.
Yeah, and we've talked about this at some of our lunches. I think D'Angelo Williams is a great value. We all want to get out to a strong start. He's going to give you at least 3 strong games to start the year. And who knows how many more if something happens to Bell. Even if Bell stays healthy all season long, Williams probably can chip in from week to week. You can't get 3 strong games out of any other running back in this group right now. Okay, number 8 now is the Senators, and that is going to be Hank.
Oh, on the Senators. Okay, good. Yeah, fine. All right. Well, and I think with the Senators, much like you talked about with the others, it's so critical for these guys to get off to a good start. And the first 3 games are really important, as we know in this league. You got to win 1 or 2 of those for sure. They are a little thin at receiver, and I think they need somebody they can put into. But they're also homers. But so I think that maybe Jordan Matthews is a good pick right here for these guys. I read that Benjamin may or may not be full strength as we get going here early. I'm sure Kramer's got a running back or 2 he's in love with, but I'm going to put Jordan Matthews there.
All right, that's going to bring up the AMPAC now at number 9. This is the pick acquired from the Mongols late last year. The AMPAC, I think at this point are probably looking for receiver. They've got Kevin White still working his way back to health. They've got Josh Gordon suspended. I've got this. I have this pegged in my last mock draft. I think it's going to stay this way. John Brown, I think makes a lot of sense here, and that's a very exciting pick for the Impact. All right, number 10, Dirt Devils. This is a pick coming from the Hams in the 10 spot, and picking for the Devils is going to be Berto, right?
Yeah. So I think the Devils at this point realize that they're going to need. They want to get younger at running back. They know they need to get that. They got an infusion of young talent here. I think they do pull the trigger this time after getting their receiver at what number was that? 4. Now they are going to go back to a young running back, and they are going to select DeAndre Washington from Oakland.
I'm just going to argue that Nick will be a homer and take Paul Perkins. I agree with everything you said until you didn't pick the Giants guy.
Well, let me compromise here. I actually would have said that about Sterling Shepard. We had them taking Macklin at the number 4 spot in this draft.
Right.
So.
Now, actually, now that Phil said that, I'll switch my pick officially to Perkins.
Yeah, I just think if there's 2 guys, and I don't disagree with anything you said. It's just that it comes down to 2 guys that are, both a pretty equal roll of the dice. Why not go with the team like?
Yeah. The problem is now I got to come up with a different guy for the Lizards at 11. That was like, hey, listen.
Washington.
Lizards, as Stick mentioned in the mock draft, they're win now, and so you have to balance that need for a scorer as the number 3 running back with the fact that they're going to have to replace Adrian Peterson, and they might not get a better opportunity than right now to do it. I thought Paul Perkins would make a lot of sense if he was on the board right now. Seeing how he's not, I'm going to go with Kenneth Dixon of the Ravens as a good long-term, or not long-term, but looks at the future for the Lizards right now. Veteran scorers you can probably pick up next round. Upside running backs, hard to do.
All right, number 12 spot belongs to the Beavers. This is the flip-flop with the Giant Killers.
Yeah. So although the Beavers are only going in with 2 receivers, I'm thinking Beavers probably were thinking receiver here, but I think they're going to be depressed with what's left after some of the first-round picks that we just had here, and they're gonna scan down the receivers that are left, and they're going to say, nope, we got to go young running back, and here they will take DeAndre Washington.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's quickly do one more pick, and Berto, you're going to make this one as well. The Mongols picking for the first time at number 13.
The Mongols at 13. Let's see here. Hold on. We're going to go. Mongols will go Bilal Powell. Just to grab another running back who's going to get some touches.
All right, well, that's a nice transition to one final topic. You guys wanted to bring up the inside the TFFL mock drafts, perhaps a changing nature to them that you're seeing. Bilal Powell was one guy you were somewhat criticizing. I had him going to the Lizards.
Not me. I wasn't.
Okay. Well, here he goes, number 13. So I'm, where am I really off base? And
No. I put a big circle around Roethlisberger at 7. You know, when I scanned down and I saw that, I just laughed and said bullshit.
Well, that's
So,
Nick's MO though. If he's never going to tell you even in the general vicinity of what he's really going to do with his pick. Yeah.
Why should not
I don't
number
know.
7? Number 1 or 2 he would, not number 7.
This was such a reach that, or a you know, whatever you want to call it, that it was not even in the realm of believability. So I think Roethlisberger. I'm going to circle Travis Kelce to the sponge. I don't have an issue with Bilal Powell there. And what else did you have? Delaney Walker at 13. I'm going to circle that one too. I don't think that would happen. So I don't know. But the big one that got me obviously was Big Ben at 7. Was laughable.
Yeah, that's not as good. No.
Prove us wrong, Stick. Prove us wrong.
Well, I think one of the it's not a concern. I think one of the observations that a couple people have said is you know, where are all the rookie running backs in my mock draft? And until we got to the very end just now, you know, there weren't very many of the, you know, the Paul Perkins and Kenneth Dixon's, you know, DeAndre Washington start to come in at the very end. You know, I have them going in my second round. So you know, I don't think I'm all that far off base.
No, certainly not the running backs. It's a bad year for him by normal standards, and it's just a bad time in the NFL to be a running back.
So
Yeah, and there's a lot of running backs with the opportunity, rookie running backs, and they just haven't seized it. I mean, there's just nobody who's done anything beyond the top 2 guys to get excited about.
So even though this has become a propaganda paper, I still thoroughly enjoy it, and don't ever stop, Stick.
Agreed. Please keep issuing them to spur the discussion. And
Right.
give us something to get us thinking about this great league of ours.
It is a public service.
Indeed.
Good, thank you. Okay, let's get out our trivia answer here. Again, what I'm trying to help you determine is how often is it that did you write the Mongols? Nice. How many times has the Packed Bowl loser used it as a springboard to winning the title the next year? I see never for Berto.
I got 1 to 2 times.
1 to 2 times of the Mongols. I like that.
Mongols would be never, right?
The answer is indeed never.
All right.
That is
I thought
I so rarely get those right.
never.
never.
Are we gonna have a tracker? Maybe Phil, if you're gonna bring back the visuals this year, let's have a tracker, the trivia.
Tracker.
Who's winning, or who you know who's gotten them right?
All right, let's see what I can do with that. All right, so trivia tracker right now.
I want to know.
All right, so Berto is 1, Chief is 1, Hank is 0. Okay.
I like it. What are we playing for? Anything or just bragging rights?
Absolute pride.
All right.
Loser must chug a beer.
There we go.
All right, so that trivia question is bad news for the Lizards.
That's great. I'm good with that.
Oddly enough, it was a weird thing where in the NFC, it was like the loser of the NFC Championship game like failed to make the playoffs like 14 years in a row or something like that. It was broken recently. So that's what I was thinking about when that trivia question came up. Anyway, Sick, let me usually turn it over to me right now, so I'll spare you the introduction. I emailed Nick today. He did not get back to me. But if you haven't paid your dues yet, get them in. You know, I think under the old rules, you know, it's like lose your franchise if don't get dues paid before the draft. The draft's 3 days away. Maybe everybody hasn't paid. I certainly hope so. They were technically due when the keeper list was due. All we did was remove the penalty from it. So please get them in if you haven't done so already. And I am really looking forward to this weekend, as I do every year. It's one of my 2 or 3 favorite days of the year is draft day.
Agreed.
Can't wait.
Has everybody paid Rich for the house?
Yes.
I believe everybody has paid Richie.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you're watching this and you're not leaving quite yet for draft weekend tomorrow, I think you still have some time to get your shopping lists in. Add to the documents, send an email to Iannuzzi, I guess. Kudos to Rich for putting together a great agenda. Berto, Chief, I know you guys have had a hand in this weekend as well. There's a reminder what we're all playing for. Thank you, Berto. Okay, so thank you, everybody on the panel. Good luck to all of our owners watching at home. Good luck throughout the 2016 season. Good luck on draft day in just 3 days. Safe travels to everybody. We'll see you in Myrtle Beach. Really excited about it. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Enjoy that Pac-Bowl, Berto. It's your last month of having it, baby.
Yeah, baby.